Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I've got the latest in the FN 509 series. This is a 9mm pistol, and this is the FN 509C, or compact. This is the shortest grip of the FN 509 series, but otherwise functionally it's the same as any other 509. So like you've come to enjoy in a few other manufacturers' lineups, you can have a compact, a medium, or a full size, all that work basically the same. So let's talk about this guy. First off, we have an unloaded one. It's a two-finger grip when there's no magazine inserted. Both magazines do come with some form of pinky extender. So this is the 12-round magazine, which gives you about 2 3/4 fingers. Make sure I'm all the way up there. Not quite a full 3-finger because a little bit of the finger hangs off, but close enough that it really doesn't matter. You'll see there's a nice undercut under the trigger and some very nice pattern. This is really easy to get a hold of and hold onto, but it doesn't bite into you. It's not at all abrasive or pokey. Comes with 2 back straps. This is the larger of the 2. This is the one that happened to be installed on it. And it also comes with a thinner one. Put them side by side, you'll see how much of a kind of a bulge there is on the larger one for the palm swell. And this one's a little bit flatter, so for somebody that wanted a little bit flatter back strap, it's available to you. So this magazine, as I mentioned, is 12 rounds. It also comes with a 15-round magazine, and at this point you are now in the full 3-finger grip. My third finger fits entirely on there, up in there. Now if you've got larger hands, of course, it may vary a little bit. But overall, you've got a lot of capacity in a small package. And with the larger magazine, you've got the convenience of a full-size grip. You can also use magazines. This is a 15-round magazine. There's also 24-round magazines. They'll work as well. Now, you can get spacers for them. I don't happen to have any that would extend the grip. The only thing you want to be careful of is not getting overly exuberant and really slamming the magazine in when you don't have a ring to kind of absorb some of the energy and kind of spread it along the grip, as well as the mechanisms at the top. However, this magazine will seat properly even if the slide is open without needing it. So unlike some where you can overextend the magazine will insert to the proper depth whether the slide's open or not, and whether or not you have the sleeve around the magazine. So let's talk about a few of the dimensions of this. So remove the magazine, go ahead and close it up. It is 6.8 inches front to back. It is either 4.8 inches or 5.2 inches, depending on which magazine. So there would be 4.8 inches or 5.2, depending on which magazine you put in it. And it's 1.35 inches thick. So it's a little bit on the thicker side compared to other striker guns, but not ridiculously. It's not such that it's going to make a big difference in how you'd carry it. And as you can see, it has ambi slide stop slide release, as well as magazine release. So it's a full ambi gun, which is very useful if you're left-handed. A lot of guns out there, they'll have one or the other, or neither. Or in the case of like Glocks, you can reverse things. But this just comes out of the box ready to go. From a sights perspective, this one happens to be the MRD version, which is an optics ready version. And you can see there's a plate there. And it does come with a kit of additional plates that it's said by the manufacturer to cover about 10 different popular red dots that are out there on the market today. You can remove this plate, put the red dot on it with the sights in place. They are suppressor height sights, even though it doesn't have a threaded barrel, theoretically to co-witness, though I've never really found a good use for co-witness on a pistol, because when you co-witness you also tend to interfere. The dot ends up landing on your front sight. They are blackout sights, which I did find a little difficult to see. Luckily there's enough of a gap in front of it that you could sort of do a location on the target, so we're able to pull decent groups with it. The gun is physically capable of decent groups. With a little bit better sights or a red dot, either one would make it much easier to accomplish that. It fits comfortably in the hand. Really, the grip is nice and it just kind of contours well. Has a 3-slot Picatinny rail, front and rear slide serrations. They're really good serrations. They're easy to get a hold of whether you're going for the front or the rear, but they don't bite into your hands or tear you up. So it's kind of the perfect balance. Overall, these are just nice guns to operate. They're reliable, and they actually have pretty good triggers. So let's go ahead and do the trigger. This one is a little less scratchy on take-up than the medium that we have. It's a hinge trigger, so it's part of the inertial drop safety. But like many that are well-done hinge triggers, as you take up the trigger, you really don't feel it or notice it. So there's a little bit of take-up. You're on the wall. It's about a 5.5 to 6 pound break. Very crisp and defined. Kind of a medium reset, kind of a little bit on the nicer side. And you're almost right on the wall. There's just a little bit of bounce off the take-up, but not enough to matter. And then another crisp break. And I'll show you, there's the reset, and there's all the way out. Now, the reset is close to all the way out, but the overall trigger travel, once you complete the take-up, is pretty short to begin with. So overall, it's a very nice trigger. We found it real easy to get good follow-ups with it. The trigger in no way interfered with pulling nice groups, and it actually kind of helped because it's a very crisp and very definable trigger. It's easy to figure out when you're about to break. MSRP on these is a hair on the steep side. MSRP on this is $800. And right now, anything that is compact, concealed carry, or good for home defense, you're pretty much paying MSRP. People aren't running sales and discounts because they don't need to. If you don't want it, the guy behind you or the 5 other guys behind them will buy it. So things are tending to go for MSRP, and these have been a bit scarce. It's been a while. I've been looking for this one for a while and finally managed to find one and bought it on the spot because right now you get it if you can get it. Now I did happen to get lucky and got this for about $660, which is actually under MSRP. One of the big box stores that isn't following the craze actually had one, but they had one, and it hadn't been there last time I was there, so I grabbed it while I could. A couple other things. There is a flat dark earth version of this available, and there's also a tactical version that comes with similar sights and a threaded barrel. But the tactical version, the rear sight is mounted on the plate, so when you take the plate off, the sight goes with it. This one here, both sights are mounted on the slide itself, and they're dovetailed, so they're relatively easily replaced. I'm not sure why that difference exists. Let me go ahead and show you how to take it down and show you the internals. Take down, it's real easy. You lock it back, flip the lever down, get it till it's about lined up, and then pull the trigger, and it slides right apart. I'll put the slide down. I've got the frame in my hand. Typical FN, really solid, robust locking block with nice solid wings. Decent rails at the back, good length rear rails. And then you have the fire control group in the middle. You have really solid bars on the slide stop slide release. So unlike some that have an ambi where they're thin, or that's just kind of a connecting bar and the one on this side doesn't always work as well, on the FNs they work very well. It doesn't matter which one of these things you grab. And they're fairly flush and rounded, so they're not going to interfere with holsters or get caught up on your fingers as you're working it. Typical FN, well-constructed internals. The slide with a very, very yellow recoil spring. So we'll set that aside. It is a dual captive recoil spring. Here is the barrel, which is 3.7 inches long. It has a polished feed ramp and a polished chamber. So this thing should feed pretty much anything you want to feed it reliably. And a well-constructed conventional rifling. With a little bit of a target crown. You can see a little bit of a target crown there. So overall, these are well-constructed guns. Look at the machining, everything is smooth. You got a few scuffs from where the barrel's moved as it fired. Drop safety piston and sear. Internals, pretty typical striker gun. A little bit of medium-sized rails, guide rails. Putting it back together is as easy as taking it apart. You drop the barrel in, recenter the recoil spring, and slide it back together, flick the lever up, and the lever does stay down. So when you go to put it back together again, you're not fighting with the lever. I flipped it down, it stayed down, it locked in that position, did what I needed to do, I flipped it back up and put it back together. We'll do some comparisons on this versus others in the 509 family as well as others that are competitors. but I can tell this is going to do well in those comparisons. It's got a lot of cool features. It's a well-done gun, so it should hold up well against many of the competition. Probably slap a Vortex Venom on it, and since neither one of us like blackout sights, probably swap these out with hopefully TFO or TFX if we can find sights that will fit this. Other than that, it was easy to shoot, it was comfortable to shoot, it's a pleasure to shoot. If I can see the sights a little better, it'd be even more fun. If you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, kind of everywhere. Thank you.
Just real quick, I think I'll target up a little bit of something off the floor back there. Yeah, I'll get it for you. Yeah, change the